So looks like audio is working just fine. I think we're good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you guys own it. It is a special day. It is Tesla Day. It is all things Tesla. Tesla has earnings. Tesla could hit all-time highs, or it could come crashing back down to earth into a big giant crater. Either way, it's Tesla Day, and we're super pumped. We're super excited. We're going to be talking about everything involving Tesla. But before we do that, Fat Man Zoom, why don't we hit him off with the starting five?
Yes, sir. Starting five, we have Mysterious Gal, Parag Junasia, Savvy Money Show, Sean Ethier, and Dan Dalton. You are starting five.
Starting five. What's up, man?
Not much, brother. Looking forward to today, guys. We got a lot of good stuff. Honestly, it's all Tesla. We might talk about a couple random things, but really, today's about Tesla. All eyes on Tesla. Make sure you guys stick around till the bell. Here's how it works. If you haven't been here before, once the bell rings, Brad will pull up the chart. I'll get on Twitter. We'll look for the numbers and look at the reaction. We'll give the initial reaction, give the numbers for the earnings, and then from there, we'll just give our general sentiments as well. But leading up to that, we're going to talk about a lot of things going on with Tesla and some factors into the earnings.
Yeah.
But we want to include you guys in this, and we don't get enough opportunities to answer you guys' questions. So as I put in the chat, throw in your Tesla questions. I'm just going to focus on Tesla questions. So any questions you have regarding Tesla, I'll throw them over to Brad, and we'll get through those. But man, life is better when Tesla does well.
Yes, it is.
For everybody.
Yes.
How was your day?
My day was pretty good. I mean, it was actually pretty crazy, to be honest with you. I mean, some of my calls went nuts. I made a lot of moves today. Just some of my speculative stuff I got out of. If you follow me in the Chaos Crew, which, by the way, if you want to be a part of, you can hit the join button next to subscribe. Get our watch list, our community, my trade alerts, my portfolio, all that good stuff by hitting the join button next to that magical blue button. But I ended up selling out a fuel cell, which is a pretty speculative play. Had some calls in there, didn't really work out. So they ended up hopping in the Pinterest. And then I also hopped in to you'll like this, Bank of America options as well.
Nice. You hopped into Pinterest after the rumors?
Yes. After the rumors and after the pullback. So the initial shoot up and then it pulled back. So then I hopped back in on the dip.
Where'd you get in at?
My calls are at 70.
Okay.
So I ended up taking calls leading into PayPal's earnings because PayPal basically came out and said, we'll have the final numbers and, when this acquisition goes through, if it goes through, should be revealed by the time those earnings come through. So I have a calls that expire October 29th. Didn't take nothing too crazy, but this is kind of one of those flyers that I ended up taking. Why not? Kind of hopping on the FOMO, especially with Pinterest still trading down in the low 60s.
Yeah. When did you get in?
I got in
around 60.
Yeah. So my calls, my average price on the calls are at, where'd it go? Why did I feel like, there it is. My average is at $1.04 for 70 calls that expire October 29th. So I only got 10 of them. Nothing too crazy.
Because the dip was around 60. Like right below, like 59.
I got it like 61.
Okay,
I want to say when it came down to 61.
Yeah, it looks like that's an interesting acquisition, and I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, even though it's all things Tesla, we can't not talk about it.
I did say we would talk about a couple things. We would touch on a couple things, and as people roll in, you can't not bring up this news.
Yeah,
and someone asked PayPal to buy Pinterest for $70, good deal or not. What's your general sentiment on PayPal potentially buying? And it looks like late stage talk, so it looks like this is going to happen.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts behind them?
I was actually going to ask you the same question, but I'll go ahead and go first. This is an interesting one. I just don't, we talk about a firm. PayPal scooping up a firm would probably make some sense.
Mm-hmm.
PayPal going after, I don't know, Snapchat maybe would make a little bit more sense. Some other social media platform where they can actually sell shit on.
Why Snapchat?
Because they have messaging capabilities and that sort of thing. Whereas like Pinterest, Pinterest doesn't really, you don't communicate that much on Pinterest on a level like you would with with messaging apps built into their platforms, like, Facebook and that sort of thing. So from a communication standpoint, this one just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but nevertheless, I mean, I think that this is good for them, and I think that investors don't necessarily know what to make of it, which is why we're seeing PayPal down 5%, which I think is an opportunity. By the way, we see this all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I'm sure there's investors out there that think that they're paying too much for it. So if you guys didn't catch any of the particulars here, the plan is, the rumor is that they're going to acquire them for about $70 a share, which would valuate Pinterest around $39 billion. Their market cap right now is around, I want to say 49.
29.
Oh, it's 29. Okay, 29 billion. So, you know, they are overpaying a little bit, but they're going to make up for that, I think, if with the capital and the money that PayPal has that it's going to allow them to grow. That's been the struggle for PayPal, or for Pinterest, is the growth story. They've done really well over the pandemic, but the ability for them to kind of turn a profit and make money with that platform has been a struggle. And I think with the cash on hand that PayPal has, they can do that and then make their money back, and then some, going into the next 10, 12, 15 years, whatever. And that's the idea behind this acquisition.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. It's 40 billion is the market cap for
okay.
for Pinterest.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
For some reason I thought it was like 59 or something, but
so
49.
Maybe before it had dropped. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I gave away the number too soon. I've been racking my brain on this too, because I think the knee-jerk reaction is like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what would have made more sense. Actually, let me tell you why I think you can make the argument that this is actually a good move. Because they do have merchant access. So when you have Pinterest boards, you can actually go, and obviously it drives traffic to certain products, right?
Yeah.
So potentially they can make money through that, whether it's advertising revenue, which is pretty cool for the retailers, or whether the retailers, they have an option, payment option for people that go through the retailers, and you can buy it directly on Pinterest or something like that. You see it, there is opportunities there. So if that's the case, is they see that opportunity to access retailers through the customers that are promoting the retailers, or even the retailers in general, I'll tell you who would have been better. Far less market cap. 29 billion market cap that I mentioned was Etsy.
Oh, yeah.
Etsy would have been such a better play.
Yeah.
Because you have the online shops right there. So integrate your stuff. So like to me, if that was the move, then go to Etsy. So I don't think it's a bad move. I think I worry that they're going to get caught up in an industry they don't want to get caught up into. So there's certainly upside, but also you know how fast social media moves. You got to stay on top of it. And that's just a whole nother beast.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some risk involved with this, blowing up in their face, like a Microsoft acquiring Skype or something like that. Like they could bastardize it. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But you definitely bring up a good point. I wonder if the reason they didn't look at Etsy, or there's several reasons, but do you think that because Pinterest has a much broader base than Etsy does? And I don't actually know the numbers, but I would imagine that Pinterest has more users than Etsy does. But that could be something that maybe compelled them to look at something like Pinterest versus like an Etsy. But I agree. I think that would be a big deal for them.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like they're really trying to grow. Like Venmo's a social product.
Yeah.
Right. It's meant to be social. And so the more access you get for people, the better. I would have just been advertising money on it. So yeah, maybe the reach in general, but the difference is like Etsy, those are all shops. Like people are actually spending, I don't know how much money flows through Etsy, but it's in the billions of dollars getting spent on Etsy. Think about all the opportunities you have for that. And I do agree as well, buy now, pay later. Like that's the thing. If you ask me, is this a good move or a bad move? I think it could be good, but I'm saying it's a bad move. I think there's too much opportunities in their existing verticals. Like to your point about buying a firm, like they do buy now, pay later, but there's such huge upside. We're just seeing the beginning of buy now, pay later. Why not just continue to dig deep into what you're good at, focus on those type of things, And I think there's just obviously they're just scratching the surface on crypto as well. Like there's just so much more they can do with what their existing vertical is. I don't love when companies try to go into something like that, where it's no matter what you say, like whatever their justification is, there's just going to be such a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like a heavy lift for them.
Which is why I'm saying it feels like a Microsoft kind of move.
Yeah.
To that exact end. We'll see. PayPal has been a monster, and they've executed perfectly on a lot of things that they've done. It's kind of hard to pinpoint what they haven't done well. So maybe they prove us wrong, and I hope they do, especially for Pinterest shareholders and those who are still in PayPal. Regardless, we'll see what happens. I'm still in calls here. We'll see if we get that 70 mark, that 70 number. I think as people digest this is why I got the calls for 70. People will start to warm up to the idea that $70 a share is really what the acquisition number is going to be. So that's the reason why I'm playing those 70 calls for those who were asking in the chat. I saw that.
Yeah. And we've seen this. Once it's announced that it goes through and it is $70 a share, the stock's going to go right up to that number. So if you're in that, I think the risk reward is good there. But you kind of know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So the moment it gets there, there's really no point to stay in it. And the real look is PayPal long term.
Yeah.
So if this is a dip buy opportunity, if this goes down, this is certainly PayPal is going to continue to dominate. So to your original point, these are opportunities when it goes down like this.
Yeah. PayPal is down 5%. So I think this is going to be a pretty good opportunity. I actually had this area marked around 253 as support. Gosh, probably months ago. So it's interesting that it came down and retested that area. So I actually think this is probably a really good buying opportunity on PayPal right as it sits. Zero Blue Ox asks a really great question. Wouldn't the options lose nearly all the value premium if $70 is confirmed? Zero Blue Ox, you're assuming that I'm going to be holding till that expiration. Yeah. So just to clarify, this is a short-term play. I'm probably going to flip it and be out in a couple of days if people start to warm up to the fact that $70 is going to be there. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but this is just a risk I'm willing to take.
One more quick thing before we move on to the Tesla questions. I appreciate you guys' questions. Keep throwing questions in there. I'll hand those over to Brad. I just wanted to mention Bitcoin made all-time highs.
Yes.
Ethereum cracked 4K and is on its way to all-time highs as well. Not yet. I think like 45, 50 or something is all-time highs.
Yeah.
But Ethereum too should be close to all-time highs.
Yeah, and again, this was in response to the Bitcoin futures ETF that actually went out, and it was interesting because we were kind of like talking about what the point would be in using something like a Bitcoin ETF, and we kind of scratched our brains a little bit on it as well. Got some more clarity on that. So this was more or less for like institutions and kind of really designed for lack of better terms, those who are the baby boomers that really don't get cryptocurrency, but maybe they want some exposure to it. So then they own some of it. And honestly, most analysts and hedge funds are kind of like encouraging you, if you just want to own Bitcoin, just go own Bitcoin rather than this ETF. So this is more or less for institutional buying and that sort of thing, not really meant or designed for the retail investor, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything right now, crypto is just rampant,
ripping.
Yeah.
It is ripping right now.
Is this the run that, from the pullback? Like, do you think this is part of a larger run, or do you think there should be a pullback onto the next run? I think we both agree it's going to continue to run in general, but
I think it's going to continue to run in general for sure. But this rip up is just crazy. We've seen it before, nothing surprises us, but if you take a look at this, it's a pretty loose cup and handle, not going to lie. So we could see some potential consolidation here before the next leg up. Mm-hmm. That's what I think could be the most likely scenario. But as we always know with crypto, there's always room for corrections. So I would say that it wouldn't surprise me if it came back down to 64 and kind of consolidated there for a few days before we saw the next leg up on this one. But I think a lot of the excitement that we're seeing around that ETF, that futures ETF, certainly is one of the catalysts that's moving this up. There's plenty of other ones that people could pinpoint, but I think that could be the main one. So watching this kind of consolidate and move up would make a lot of sense. But then again, it's so unpredictable at times. So just keep that in mind. And in the event we see another correction like we saw back in the springtime, I will definitely be looking to scoop some up.
All right. So let's get into it. You ready for the Tesla?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, guys. We have how many people in the house?
We got 116 of you guys hanging in here. So thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you. And we got 38 likes, though, which is kind of on the weak side. If we could get those likes up, we certainly would appreciate it. So hit that thumbs up if you're new. Especially if you're new, hit that subscribe button as well. We actually go live every day at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time to cover earnings, to cover whatever's going on in the market, give you our thoughts and some of the action plans that we have put in place for our own investing. So if you guys want to be a part of that, part of the community that we have, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you guys on the channel.
All right, guys. Shout out Venkat Sumrani, and I moved to crypto completely. Just wanted to listen to you guys. We appreciate that, and actually, more crypto to come in 2022. It'll definitely be a bigger part of our content strategy.
More guests and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So my crypto account hit all-time highs today. Just saying, I'm happy about that. Now, Tesla.
Congrats.
So, guys, thank you. So, guys. Tesla earnings coming up. Let's try to answer some questions before the bell rings so we can get all of them in. If you guys have questions, let us know. I'll pass them along to Brad. Let me start with the questions and we'll go. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's start with the earnings per share and the setup for it.
Okay.
So earnings per share estimates are $1.58 a share. And revenue is, I believe, $13.7 billion. All right. If they beat, this will be another record quarter, and I think that everybody agrees that it's going to be a record quarter. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no question.
So the basic question that we always bring up and answer is like, so what should we expect going into earnings? Generally, this thing has run hot. It didn't get to 900, but it came hella close, and so near all-time highs, massive run for the past few months, and so what are your thoughts going into earnings that we already know there were record deliveries, Brad? We already know it's going to be a record quarter.
Yep.
We already basically see the picture that's going to be created. We expect to beat earnings per share. We expect to beat revenue. Does that make you bullish about these earnings and the reaction of the stock, or does that actually give you a little bit of pause?
So it's the latter for me. We all know that fundamentally that Tesla is just insanely high. The valuation there is high. And I know that doesn't matter to a whole lot of people, but I think at some point it will matter. And if they come in and beat earnings, that would be great. And if it goes to $900 a share, I'll be certainly happy for everybody who's in it. And certainly myself as well. But there's definitely some cause for concern. You see a lot of these stocks that'll make these type of runs going into their earnings, and then they come out with monster earnings. They come in with surprise expectations. Guidance is great, and then they sell off, and people kind of wonder why. And there's the cliche of buying the rumor and selling the news. That happens all of the time, and Tesla isn't immune to that. We've seen that in the past before. So this does give me a little bit of pause, even though I am very optimistic about the stock and the company overall.
Yeah. If I'm a betting man, I would say profit taking would be likely afterwards. The only way I would say it wouldn't be is if they just raise guidance, which I think is probably unlikely.
Yeah.
Just because of supply chain and just to be conservative, why would you? But immediately afterwards, I just don't know. I think that at least a massive move would be surprising to me. Now, that from the long-term perspective and going into the end of the year and into next year, I think that it's going to get a move on again. But just the initial reaction, I got to imagine there's going to be some profit taking.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And we've been there. We're getting into that territory of Tesla where we were pretty much last year this time, which was like Tesla could do no wrong. And it was blasphemous if you talked about Tesla going down and how dare you say Tesla will go away. It feels like we're back there again.
Yeah.
Whereas at the beginning of this year, you could barely see the stock going back up. It was like, damn, when are we going to get back up to 900? So it's funny how that kind of works out. But I think that there's going to be opportunities presented in the near future for Tesla.
Yeah, I put a poll up here if you guys want to go check it out at On the Chaos on Twitter. People tuned in. Most of the votes that are in so far are thinking that Tesla moonshots to $1,000 after the earnings come out.
Well, here's the thing. You set that up wrong. You know that, right?
I did set it up wrong. Correct. but they misses and they tank to 700. There was actually a couple of comments that said, that they beat and that tanked.
Yeah.
So, but I was in a hurry and I threw it up there. Fair point. So I already knew I was getting heat for that. But nevertheless, that was the
I'm
poll.
gonna go vote.
Some people responded, so go check it out at Own the Chaos. I always put all kinds of stuff up there on Twitter. That's where I'm most active. If you guys want to go check me out there when we're not live, go follow us over on Twitter. Also at FatManZoom as well. Yeah, man. So we're cautiously optimistic. I would imagine is probably the mood between the two of us. Correct?
Yeah. It doesn't. Neither of us are really in a short term right now.
Right. So we don't necessarily care what happens to it.
Yeah.
Today.
So if anything, I'd rather have a little bit of a sell off.
Yeah.
To pick up some shares. So let's get into the questions. First question is, should I hold or sell before market closes? No context. That is Mad Dicks.
Of course it is. Come on, man.
It depends on how much you're up.
It depends on how much you're up.
It depends if you're full position
what's
size.
your timeline? What's your risk tolerance? Like what was your plan going into it? And I think that's one of the key things is like we always tell people, at least how I've done it over the years. And I've been trading for almost a decade at this point. We're getting close to it. And that having a plan, knowing what you're going to do before you push the buy button, how you're going to get out of it is really key. So if you don't have that plan in place, definitely consider the fact that going into earnings, holding anything through earnings and expecting some sort of move is a gamble. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And as we were talking about earlier, the stock could actually have really good earnings and then sell off. So there's certainly that element to it. If you're worried about it, my first thought is that if you're that worried and you're asking the question in general, there's probably a good chance that maybe you should at least take something off the table, leave some shares on there for the just in case. And then that way you insured some profit if you're up on it, which I would hope so, given the move that it's had recently. And then if it does drop, gives you the opportunity to maybe add back to it. If it keeps going, at least you got some shares and you're continuing to make profit on this thing as this monster rolls on.
Yeah, I agree. Be happy with your profits if it's a short-term thing and or trim a little bit, be happy with your profits. If I was in it, I'd probably be up substantially. And so if that's the case, then I'd be fine risking the capital. But if I'm full position size, it doesn't hurt me to trim a little bit. Like I would definitely trim a little bit, but I wouldn't be out all the way if I've been in this run.
Don from the Don Fran Show says scared money don't make no money.
This is true as well. But smart money stays around.
That's true. That's true too.
No, I mean there is a level of truth to that.
Yeah.
But to your point, this is why we got to have the plan in advance.
Yeah.
This is also why I try to stay away from, like, if I decide to stay in, I try to stay away from doing an extended hours trade. If it sells off, unless there's like critical news, I also don't, if it starts going down, I just ride with whatever I decided, because you never know how the market's going to digest it, right? Because it could go down 5% after hours, and then tomorrow morning it opens up green and shoots off. So this should have been, your exit strategy needs to be figured out before you enter into a stock. And it's probably the key, most critical component of actually a trade, which a lot of people don't really think about until the end.
Yeah, agreed. The one thing I also wanted to point out too is that this was kind of sort of in a breakout mode. If we're looking at the chart and you were looking at the 1 minute there, if we break it out to the daily, I've made mention of this over the last couple of weeks that this is the most organized that I've seen Tesla in quite some time. And then leading up to earnings, we saw it break out of this ascending channel, and it started to correct at the top of this channel again today. Obviously, earnings could just wreak havoc all over this thing, but it'll be interesting because last earnings, it didn't. It continued to sustain in this channel. So if it does sell off, my thoughts are that hopefully that it would remain in this channel at some point. Even if it comes down to as low as 760, it's still within that channel. The trend remains intact, and I don't think anybody would have too much to worry about with Tesla as long as it remains as organized as it has been.
Yeah, I mean, that's really my thought is 750. I'd if if I was a betting man, I'd say 750 short term was more likely than 1,000.
Yeah.
But if it stays above 750, I'd be hella happy about that. That's around the 50-day moving average, which I think is 754.
Yeah.
But or 755, but the 200-day is at 700. So
it's got lots of room to move around.
It does have lots of moves to move around, but that 50-day setting up perfectly with that channel, which is almost the perfect scenario. So if it comes down to 750, it would be a really good asymmetrical trade opportunity. I don't see a world where it actually comes down below 700. You never know, but I don't see that happening. But I think the 50-day is going to be certainly one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. What Fat Man's was talking about here is that if you look at the bottom of the channel here, that I had pointed out, the 50-day is represented by this yellow line here at around 755. So yeah, pretty close in line with that. So pretty compelling stuff there. We'll see how it shakes out, but definitely some areas to watch for after hours as we get some of those results in.
So I kind of answered Latifah's question, but I'll ask you, what price would you buy Tesla on a dip buy?
On a dip buy, I would say anything in the mid 700s.
Yeah. And that's probably where I would take my
at least start.
Would be like 800. If it fell below 800,
yeah,
I'd probably lock in profits and know that I can get in again.
Yeah.
And then obviously the resistance, previous highs would be the resistance. So 900 is going to be, if it breaks above 900, watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah. So 940 cents was the all-time high. So a break over that could result in a lot of FOMO kicking in, and we could see that move to $1,000 a share. Which, by the way, we made the bold prediction that Tesla would hit 1,000 almost a year ago. In December of 2020, we made a lot of bold predictions for this year. Tesla was one of them to $1,000. That would be sweet if that happened today.
Yeah. Well, Trevor Maxon answered your question. That was the $800. Dan Dalton. We've seen a seemingly unstoppable Tesla stock to 900 before, followed by a painful sell-off. What's the new low for Tesla when negative catalysts set in? 700, or is it a steadier ship headed into 2022? I think I kind of gave my thoughts. Do you have any additional thoughts on that?
Not really. I think I don't think there's anything to add to than what we've already said. The question was kind of the same.
And one thing I do want to say, Dan, is when negative catalysts set in, I just want to remind you that it actually doesn't even need to be negative catalyst.
Yeah.
It just could be like no new news. Like if everything comes in and is expected, this is sort of the catch-22 with having Elon such an active, outspoken CEO.
Yeah.
You kind of already know what's happening and what's going to be said. And so that's good on one hand, but on the other hand, there's not very many surprises when earnings come because the surprises come through Twitter.
Yeah. And remember, Elon's not going to be part of the conference call today. Yep. This is the first one, right? First one. He's not going to be part of the conference call. So.
I don't believe he is. They didn't I believe he's not going to be in the conference call.
He made mention of it last quarter.
Yeah.
But that was the last we heard of it, right? There was no follow-up to that?
No. He said that he was going to be on for the annual shareholder meeting, and he might jump in for specific news, but I don't think this call. I don't expect him on this earnings call. I'd be surprised if he was on it.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Latifah, electrical engineer. I feel like we haven't seen her in a minute.
Yeah. I know. I did want to say something. And shout out to Daniel Camarena. I believe he is in the house.
Yeah, he chimed in from the FedEx warehouse as per the usual.
All right. I think let me just check these other questions. Eric Scarl's up 18%. Yeah, let us know. Let us know what you guys have as your dollar cost. I know we have some good cost basis for Tesla. I think mine in my swing trading account is $698, I think.
Okay. Not bad.
Yeah. I think that's what it's at. But I know there's some people with some great, we talked about like Mini Zoom has a cost basis of like $180.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Silly.
I have shares still on this in my longer term trading account, and I have it at around $77.
Savvy, yeah, that's awesome. Savvy Money Show says no Elon, definitely sell off. That's a possibility, which is a weird possibility, which is weird and definitely buy up. It's hard to quantify if it's because of whoever's running earnings. But I do think that is like, or I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a stupid reason for it to sell off.
Yeah.
Elon not being there, I don't know, speculation, rumors, worry, whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, he said he wants to spend his time focusing on things that'll move the business forward, and earnings does not do that.
No, it does not. Don did bring up a good point. He said, here's a question that nobody's asking. Who thinks it stays flat? And that's very interesting because we've seen Tesla not do that. I mean, it's either up or down usually, and it's usually pretty violent. It's a pretty volatile move typically that we see out of Tesla, one way or the other, whether it's good or bad. So it is interesting, compelling. I don't know if we see a flat open or after hours movement on this one.
Yeah,
Lots of anticipation for this quarter.
Yeah, I think flat is just more likely. Like,
you think it could be flat?
Like just immediate reaction, or not more likely. I think that's the best. Like, I'd be optimistic if it stayed flat.
Yeah, yeah.
I apologize. I do think a profit taking is going to happen.
Okay,
that would be, if I would bet, that's what it would be on.
Got it.
I love Jeff Panika still talking about. Still has lots. You made the confession already. You're good. You don't have to confess it every day, bro. Brian Woods had pins in the crew call outs end of September. His calls are up 350%. That's awesome.
Nice.
So Tesla, want to hear about Giga Mumbai, India? Yeah. Good opportunities.
Huge opportunity.
And that's probably more 2022.
Yep.
I don't know when production numbers would hit, and what the timeline is in Mumbai. That's something we got to look up. All right. As the market's closed, let me just real quick give you guys the numbers again. We got to do predictions. $1.58 a share estimates, earnings per share estimates. And I want to tell you, Brad, usually, like, if they're going to blow out a quarter, it's usually quarter 3.
Yes, historically.
And so $1.58 and 13.7 billion. I won both predictions. What do you think? You'd think they beat, but what are the numbers?
What was it? $1?
$1.58.
$1.50. For some reason, I thought it was $1.29. $1.58. I think they come in at $1.89.
Okay.
And then what was the second part of that?
13.7 billion.
Oh yeah, they smashed that. I think we're gonna say 16.3.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna do which would both be monster records. And perspective, 11.4 billion last quarter. Or sorry, 11.96 billion last quarter.
Yeah, that'd be a massive beat.
So what I'm gonna go with,
we're swinging for the fences,
is $1.89 is a good guess. That's probably what I would have been around. I'm going to go 202 earnings per share.
Damn. Okay.
And what'd you say? 16 point what billion?
16.3, I believe is what I said.
And then I don't think it's going to be by as much, but I'm going to say 14.9 billion. What do you guys think? Give us your numbers. Earnings per share.
Throw them in
revenue.
the chat.
And then I'm going to go to Twitter as we await. Tesla usually takes a little bit, right?
Yeah, like 30, like 4:30, 4:20, somewhere around there is usually when they report. If you guys are just tuning in, first of all, welcome. We got 190 of you guys hanging out in the stream today. 72 likes. If you guys could get the likes up, we certainly would appreciate it to help us show support of the channel. If you're just tuning in, we are getting ready to cover the Tesla earnings numbers. Is there any other earnings today? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I know we were like all Tesla, but there's some other ones that might be worth
after hours.
Yeah, it might be worth chatting about.
I'll pull them up right now.
We'll pull those up. Also, Fat Man Zoom doesn't know this, but he's got a surprise coming for him today.
I do.
Yeah. So stick around.
We're gonna get it on air.
Yeah, you have to stick around till the end.
Sands, IBM, those are the ones I'm interested in.
Okay.
I think IBM is going to surprise.
I think the earnings came in a little early. Tesla's taking a hit right now. It's down.
Add an S to that.
What's that?
Add an S to that. A shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The numbers.
Okay, so the numbers are in for Tesla. What we got?
We have. Oh, but sorry. Wait, what? This doesn't seem right. No. They're not. I don't have them.
Okay, we don't have the numbers just yet.
These are full numbers.
Tesla just made a U-turn and now just went green after hours here. Again, you're watching the minute chart, so it's going to get pretty erratic here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the net income. I'll tell you the information I have. I thought these were fake numbers. $2 billion GAAP operating income, 14% operating margin in quarter three, which is good. 1.6 billion net income, which is solid as well. 30.5% gross margin. So not yet the actual earnings per share revenue, but those are initially pretty good.
Pretty good beat so far, or pretty good numbers so far. It is a little all over the place right now. So it shot all the way up to 875, which looked promising, and now it's trying to fight to stay green. Can't pick a direction just yet. But it looks like those numbers are out right now, right? We're coming out.
Yeah, they're coming out. So yeah, here we go. $1.86.
Oh, I was 3 cents off.
13.8 billion. They beat on both. Slightly beat on revenue.
Record quarter.
I mean, it's record quarter, monster quarter.
Yeah.
600 million is a lot to beat by.
Yeah, it's a lot to beat by, especially when everybody's been talking about supply chain issues, shortages. Obviously, the chip shortage has still been on the top of everybody's mind. So pretty solid quarter for Tesla. Right now, the reaction seems to be interesting. Don from the Don Frown Show mentioned Tesla being flat, and maybe this is it. We'll have to hear what guidance is, though, and that maybe that could sway the stock one way or the other. But right now, it's not really doing a whole lot. So we'll see how this plays out as investors start to digest the numbers here. But right now, if you guys are just tuning in, Tesla did beat earnings per share at $1.89 or $1.83. No, God damn it, $1.86 was the actual earnings per share. And then what was $1.50 something was the expectation?
$1.58.
$1.58 was the expectation. So pretty decent beat there on earnings per share. They came in and beat their earnings or their revenue as well. So record quarter for Tesla, pretty solid quarter for the company, and the stock is relatively flat.
And then I'm calculating these numbers quickly for everybody, just as far as quarter over quarter sequential and then year over year growth.
Yeah.
So we have, just for perspective, revenue growth quarter over quarter is 16%, which is great.
Yeah.
Year over year is 66% revenue growth.
That's awesome.
Which is huge. It was 8.77 billion. It's actually 60%. I put the expected, but reported 8.77. And then I just want to check one more thing, which was sequential last year. So 10.74 minus 8.77. So actually rate of growth slightly lower, but again, we knew this was supply chain.
Yeah.
Delivery numbers, which we didn't talk about, record deliveries. If they do 10% above projections, which is likely for quarter four, that'll put them at 892,000 deliveries. So I revised my prediction. I think you're in line. Is 900,000 deliveries is what we hope for Tesla.
Yeah.
Probably best case. I don't think it's possible it goes over that. But then next year estimates, I'm saying 1.2 million at least.
Same
for estimates for next year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. 1.2. Tesla's actually started to turn red, now down 1%, 1.25%, and continuing to gain some pressure here onto the downside. 853 was the low after hours, and it looks like it's testing that right now. May break below that, so we'll see what Tesla does here. But it's been a little back and forth as earnings have come out. Arfin put out earnings for IBM, estimated earnings per share, or the actual earnings per share is 252. They beat the 250 estimate. Sales are at 17.6. They missed that revenue. Pretty tough on that. Can't imagine that that's actually good for IBM. Let me check in on the price action.
And as you're pulling that up,
yeah,
Las Vegas Sands actually did very poorly and worse. Las Vegas Sands estimates per share loss of 21 cents came in at a loss of 41 cents.
Yikes.
Over 100% miss. Sales, they missed as well. And this is huge. Estimates were 1.29 billion, Brad. It came in at 857 million.
What?
Which is real bad.
That makes me a little nervous.
Yeah.
That makes me really nervous for my pen position. Although Vegas Sands, they're not. Don't they have lots of exposure to
Macau.
Macau?
When
I don't know.
does
I don't know enough about Vegas, or yeah, Vegas Sands.
I
But
don't remember.
IBM's getting hammered, down 4.7% after hours on a revenue miss.
What do you think all this
Yikes.
means? All these earnings mean for tomorrow in the overall market?
That's a great question. I imagine the Dow is not going to have a great day unless we come up with some better earnings, because the IBM makes up part of the Dow. Not a huge part of it, but nevertheless, it's one of those tech stocks that's now turned into a value stock, which they've been trying to gain a lot more growth, and that was the optimism here for IBM. The expectation was that the growth side of things was supposed to do well for this quarter. I don't know what necessarily the guidance is here. Maybe that'll save them, but this looks really rough, and a miss on revenue is actually not great. So overall, I would imagine that the Dow could respond to this, as IBM is such a big company. But I guess that'll remain to be seen as we go into tomorrow.
So thanks, Sean Dupuis. Las Vegas Sands does have exposure to Macau.
That's what I thought.
Pretty heavy exposure. Four Seasons Hotel Macau, Conrad Macau, Sheraton Macau, and St. Regis Macau, which some people are saying casinos are falling and they could go down. This is another one of those really good opportunities for a company like Penn.
Yep.
Even MGM, MGM has exposure to Macau, but not as much. They're better in Las Vegas, but Penn has zero.
Yeah.
So if overall it goes down, this might be a great opportunity as well.
Yeah. If Penn goes down, and it did last time on the Macau news, which made no sense. If you guys recall, Macau cracking down on regulations about a month ago now. It really got hammered on Wynn and some of the other ones that had lots of exposure to Macau. Penn has zero, and that's another reason why we like it. So it's strictly in the U.S. If it does respond, then I would say that I would be running after Penn, but actually Penn remains unchanged here after hours. It's flat on after hours trading. So pretty good stuff there. Tesla, just checking back in. If you guys are just tuning in, Tesla beat earnings on revenue. They also beat earnings per share. Came in at $1.86. $1.58 was the expectation. It's actually relatively flat. Not really much going on here. Nothing too exciting, which is pretty unusual for Tesla. We don't. We're usually going crazy trying to figure out one way this is going to go. But right now, it's only down around 0.8%. So nothing really that I would imagine anybody should be too concerned about. Only about $6 off from where it closed at today.
Well, a lot of shorts have been talking about sort of how they're backing away. And I think it's safe to say Tesla has won that battle. And I don't know. I feel like shorts have kind of moved on and focused on other things.
Yeah.
And so I think what I think is going to happen as far as like analysts are concerned and fund managers, I feel like, Brad, it's going to be one of those things where the fund managers are going to feel the pressure to have Tesla, right? Why don't you have Tesla? And so I don't see the shorts playing as much of a role in 2022 just because of how clearly dominant Tesla has been. And they're to a point where they're going to be around. There's no questioning that. So from that point of view, you talked about the organization earlier on, and if you don't mind just pulling it up again, like the channel
on the daily chart. Yeah.
Maybe this is like this is sort of the status quo for Tesla moving forward.
Yeah, and it plays right into what Chamath Palihapitiya was saying a few weeks back, was that like Tesla's now going to be more focused on EVs. They've, gone up 800% last year. So how much higher are they going to go? Kathy Wood would argue a lot higher, and some of the other mega bulls on Tesla would argue that as well. But, I think the rate in which the stock goes crazy, like it did over the last several years, may no longer be the status quo or the standard for Tesla. I think that we see some more of this organization that we've seen. I think it probably takes on a type of dynamic that we see with Apple and Facebook and some of the other fangs that we talk about, and it could start to, get it more adopted into that cluster of companies. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see where this goes, but I would imagine that the extreme volatility we see out of Tesla, if it doesn't take place anymore, it wouldn't come as a shock to me.
Yeah. Well, and I also think I actually think maybe short term there still is there still are the moves to the upside. I just don't know about the downside. And the only reason I'm saying that is because you remember those like ridiculous price targets
Yeah.
and like upgrades, and it'd be like, we're gonna upgrade Tesla price target to $120. It's like, what are you talking about?
From 80.
So my point from the analyst perspective is like, not only is there gonna have to be that accountability of like, why aren't you in Tesla? But on top of that,
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more analyst upgrades. So like that could bode well for Tesla if it stays sideways. Getting the price target increase, getting sentiment increases, especially when the supply chain eases up. I think Tesla still has that move in it. But I don't think the volatility it will be what it once was.
Yeah, I don't think so either. It's also interesting to note that Michael Burry closed his short position on Tesla as well.
Yeah, yeah. So Don said, imagine having to explain to your boss that you're still short Tesla. How many L's before you get fired?
You know what? There's so many that they just don't. I don't understand it. I go back to the economists and the jobs numbers for September, which just they were so off. They were so wrong. But they'll just keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I definitely am excited to listen to the earnings call and see what it has. And remember, there's still time. It's still early and after hours, so there's still some things to digest. So we'll see how things go. But initially, I feel optimistic about tomorrow.
I got to shout out. Ivan Broski says, hot take. It's not that hot, actually. Brad just likes to show off the fact that he knows how to pronounce Chamath Palihapitiya's last name.
It wasn't getting there wasn't easy, but we found our way there.
Yes.
It was very tough in the beginning.
Took a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Took a lot, but yes. It's a weird flex, but it's a flex nonetheless.
We're sticking with Chamath. And Chamath
Yes.
we trust because Chamath is, mark my words here, this is hot take. Chamath is just biding his time laying low. This isn't the last we've seen of Chamath. Chamath, this isn't new Chamath. He's just being smart. He's pulling the old Jack Ma strategy.
Yeah.
Lay low, stay under the radar. 2022 for Chamath. We will have shirts. And we will be rocking those shirts because this is only the beginning of our relationship with Chamath. So while everybody's forgetting about him, we're still on the Chamath train. We're still huge fans, and we still are believers.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got, my man?
I think that's actually it. Let me just double check real quick. Just a couple things or one thing I just wanted to remind people regarding the Tesla delivery numbers. When Elon Musk was asked during the third quarter earnings call, whether Tesla could deliver between 840,000 to 1 million cars during 2021, he said that's in the vicinity. So again, just wanted to sort of reaffirm our position in that. Looking good, man. I just want to make clear. I feel really good about Tesla. I'll listen to the earnings call. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll sort of follow up, give our sentiment on it. Let's do predictions. What do you think
Tesla opens up at?
I'm torn between what does Tesla open up at? I feel like we should do both. What does Tesla open up at? And what does it close Friday?
Ooh. Given where it's at right now, I'd say that it opens up at I'll give him a couple dollars. 870, I think, is where it opens up at. And then the end of the week, I think it probably cools off a little bit. Maybe falls back in line into the upper part of this ascending channel that we keep looking at around 845, 840, somewhere around there. A little bit of a correction, a little bit of a pullback. That's my prediction.
Okay. I'm going to say Tesla opens up at, oh, sorry. What'd you say for Friday? I got 870. What'd you say for Friday?
845.
845. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to say Tesla opens up at 859 tomorrow. And Friday's going to be all-time highs.
Ooh.
913.
Okay. All right.
What do you guys predict? What do you got? Don, I know you got some numbers for us. What do you guys have? I care more about what does Tesla close at on Friday. That's what I care about.
Yeah.
On Friday at the bell, what is Tesla closing at?
I like that.
I'll put Don's numbers whenever we get them.
Don says opens at 886. Not sure where it ends the week at. Don't have that number yet.
He said that?
No.
Oh, he hasn't put that out yet.
No.
What do you guys have?
9:14 says Don. End of the week.
Yeah, you got to. What is this? The Price is Right? You do $1 more than me?
I'm gonna bid $1, Bob.
I'm sure all these numbers are going to come in bullish. Savvy says 875. Ooh, Frankie says closes at 800.
Ooh, yeah.
Which might be the dip buy.
Bold prediction there.
Claudia says, I still recall that one Friday after earnings where it went insane with this crew last year.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Zero Blue Ox, Tesla closes at 899. Mad Dicks below 800 by Friday. Gambi says, Price is Right rules. I got $1. That's what I'm saying, man. Don's like, what's the last person say? Okay, let me add $1. Savvy says, close at 995. Woo! Thanks, Steven. You're a pretty cool cat yourself, my friend. Actually, I don't know if you are or not. Do a live stream. I'll check you out.
Thanks, nevertheless.
Hey, Mish. End of the week, 2K easy. Right. 920. $2 says Ivan. $2 holla. Frankie says dip buy coming. We welcome dip opportunities.
Yes.
Jeff Panika says, I don't care. Let's see in 2 weeks. Well, that's because you're bitter because you're still in lots, Jeff. Just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding. Just let's see in 2 weeks when I finally get an opportunity to take some profit on lots because lots going to be above $4, people.
Bingo.
C-Buck says closes above 890. Closes up 890, above 900 end of week.
All right. So tomorrow, Thursdays with Freddie. Freddie Valoy will be on with us. Last week, he had work obligations, so wasn't able to make it. So we have pent up demand for Freddie. So make sure that you stick around for that. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell because we'll go live at 3:30 p.m. with Freddie. He's a great laugh. If you need a great laugh, he's definitely the man for it. So he'll come on and we'll talk about him and his some of the stuff that he's been buying or thinking about buying. And not only that, but we have earnings tomorrow as well.
I think I'm more excited about tomorrow's earnings than I was about Tesla.
Same. I was just about to say. So AT&T, American Airlines, Crocs, Southwest, all report tomorrow with an array of other ones. Snap is reporting after hours tomorrow. Intel, Chipotle, Sam Adams.
Sam, bro.
Yeah.
I need a big Sam.
Boston Beer Company.
Guys, come back. If you want to see me go off, either way, I'm either going to lose my shit or I'm going to run around this studio if Sam goes off tomorrow.
Fat Man Zoom has leaps in Sam, by the way. So, pretty deep in the money, right? Pretty deep in the money on that. Yeah. So if that goes off, it's going to be a good day for Fat Man Zoom. Speaking of good days, as I'd mentioned, Crocs has earnings tomorrow morning, and we've talked about this, and I finally pulled the trigger.
Oh, you bought Crocs?
I bought Crocs for Fat Man Zoom.
God, I got to get your Crocs. Damn it. Just in time. Shit.
Just in time. So,
did you order them or did you go pick them up somewhere?
I ordered them.
I'm a bum. I feel horrible.
And that's all right. I know you were going to forget, but I just need you to pull that out of the bag for me.
You know what? I'm glad you bought mine first.
That's fine.
I'm going to get you some cool ones.
You can buy me some crazy. They're tie-dye ones. Listen.
Look at these. Oh, and they're fuzzy.
They're fuzzy. They're super comfortable.
You wore them?
I did. Just tried them on. Just to.
Did you have socks on?
Yes.
Okay. This is the ghost strap, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I told you.
Hold on, I'm taking a little mosey around. I'll wear these tomorrow. Hold on.
That's why I got them, so you can wear them tomorrow.
Yeah,
boy. They actually don't look bad.
Yeah, boy. You see them jumps? Yo, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
You know.
All right.
Are they not comfortable? They're pretty damn comfortable.
They're really comfortable.
Yeah.
Send them off.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for us. As always, we'll see you. Hit that notification bell. And by the way, hit the join button next to subscribe if you want to become part of the Chaos Crew. Get our watch list, all that good stuff, access to my portfolio. You know what to do. Hit the thumbs up as well on your way out. We'll see you tomorrow at 3:30.
Bye.